Welcome to the best of the week for What's Right with Nick Wright. The best takes and moments from this week on the show. Enjoy.
Yeah, so Mahomes wants to get past that Super Bowl loss and get that nasty taste out of his mouth. And he's also getting tired of all the talk, saying that he wants to just settle all this on the football field. This was another thing that really annoyed you, which I'm curious what the angle is here. What peed you off about this one?
Well, it's not, no. His comments didn't annoy me. The comments of the last week, which was, so here's the deal. If someone wants to have the courage to come out and be like, you know what? Here's a take, free take for someone who wants it. Okay? Like, it's just sometimes I'm disappointed in my industry because there are these, I can see these. I'm like, oh, that would be a good take. I don't believe it, but no one has had this take, and it's right there, and I know it would cut through the noise, and you could establish yourself with it, and no one has said it. Now, I don't believe this. This is not my take. So consider this like the sports take version of developing some type of vaccine or cure for something and be like, we're not patenting it. Anyone can copy it. Free for the world. Public use. Here's a take. The last few years, Patrick Mahomes has pretty clearly not been judged based on his numbers. He's been judged based on the fact that his team wins, that he is a leader, that he plays his best in the biggest spots, and that is how he has held on to the best quarterback alive moniker, despite the fact that his two biggest conference rivals, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, have both won league MVPs in this time. And if that has allowed Mahomes to climb to the top of the quarterback mountain, then the exact same standard should be used to evaluate Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, who's never missed the playoffs, whose team wins double-digit games every year, who's been to 2 Super Bowls, been awesome in both. Some would argue outplayed Mahomes in both, certainly in this last one, and has done it with let's call it a polarizing coach and a polarizing receiver in a tough city, and now is coming off, leading an offense to damn near 100 points combined in the conference championship game and the Super Bowl, and puts his body on the line, doesn't care about his passing numbers, for the most unstoppable play in football. That player, the defending Super Bowl MVP, he's the best quarterback alive. End of take. That take is, again, I do not believe it, but it doesn't have a ton of logical holes if someone wanted to have it. Instead, these dopes want to knock Mahomes off his perch of best quarterback in the league. And they are doing it for one of 3 quarterbacks, really one of 2, and mostly one of just one, who's never once outplayed him in a big spot. The majority of quarterback rankings lists right now have Josh Allen number 1, which is hilarious and indefensible. And it is not an allowable take until one time in a spot that matters, it's not a quarterback wins thing. He outplays Patrick. And the last 2 years, one in his building, one in the Chiefs building, he's had the ball in his hands, chance to go do it. And it couldn't get 40 yards either time. So that's not allowed. Lamar can win every MVP from here until retirement. And until he wins a single big game, it's obviously not allowed. And Joe Burrow had outplayed Patrick in a big spot, had a chance to really put a stake in the heart of the Chiefs through fourth quarter interception in the conference championship game, lost, and hasn't been back to the playoffs since. And the amount of people trying to argue any one of those three guys has ascended past Patrick because Patrick got beat by Jalen Hurts and they played poorly in the Super Bowl. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You then combine it with this whole, is the Chiefs era over? Based on what? That they were just the second best team in football last year? Based on the fact that they just completed the best 3-year stretch in the history of the league and are tied for the best 5 and 7-year stretches in the history of the league? What is the piece of evidence you have of like, oh, this might be the Broncos or Chargers year? There is none. And so again, the Eagles have bragging rights and Jalen Hurts has bragging rights. And the Eagles have it because they won as a team, and Jalen Hurts has it because individually he played, he was the best quarterback on the field that Sunday. But these AFC also-rans that are being elevated because of what I can't deal with it.
Wishful thinking.
It's just one
Wishful
time.
thinking.
One time, can I just see? It's what I said to that guy in Hawaii. This guy, I'm walking with the family down the boardwalk in Honolulu, and this guy walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, this is Bill's country out here." In my head, I'm like, "No, it's fucking not, man. It's actually, I'm not sure there's a place in the United States that is further removed, literally geographically, but also spiritually, from Buffalo, New York, as the boardwalk in Honolulu." Like, first of all, it's just a bad take. Second of all, get a life.
The guy had a few drinks.
But I didn't say any of that. I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. Like 5 minutes later, he runs me down and was like, "Hey, man, I'm so sorry I said that. Can I please get a picture?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I take the picture. He's like, "Yeah, man, thanks. Sorry about that." And I'm like, "It's all right." But then I couldn't resist because I was like, I'm with my wife and kids. Like, so I was like, "Hey, and listen, man, one day you'll win a big game." And I saw a look on his face and it stung. You know why it stung? The same reason why when people put up that picture of me and Mahomes a couple parades ago where I'm smiling and my nose is casting a shadow on my teeth, it stings because I know it's true. I'm like, damn. I'm like, that is weird. That is like a thing that most people like. It shouldn't be physically possible, but it's a picture. I'm seeing it. Or it does cast a shadow. Like, that sucks. But that's what it stung him because he knows it's true. And so I just don't. It's really beyond dumb to me. Let me add one other thing. And I said this to Cowherd, and he just laughed because he knew I was right. Not just like this year, but basically for all of modern NFL history. If there is a team in a division that everyone agrees the same team has the division's best quarterback and the division's best coach, that team will be the pick to win that division. If there's no debate, like if it's just like, so I'll give you an example. NFC West, there's a debate. Is McVay or Shanahan the best coach? And I guess for some, there might be a debate, is Purdy or Stafford the best quarterback? Not to me, but it's not often there that it is crystal clear on both. But when it is, that team is everyone's pick to win the division. And the amount of people this year that are going to pick fucking Bo Nix, sorry for all the curse words today, to win that division. Or Justin Herbert, who again, I don't know if he's won a big game since high school. And I have to look at the high school. I don't think he did at Oregon. It's just dumb. You know what? I just
people get fickle with the greatness. I don't know. People just don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just doing it too much.
I don't know if you heard it, but they think we have the next Trent Williams and Josh Simmons. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now that might be a little strong. Trent Williams, one of the greatest players of all time. But if Josh Simmons just ends up being the 10th best left tackle in the league, slightly above average, it is such a, Mahomes been to 5 Super Bowls. He had a different starting left tackle in all 5. It would be just such a massive
and this
value add if that can be the case.
Worst O-line situation yet, right? Or
well,
is it earlier
over the course of this, no. The thing is, what's weird is the Chiefs had a really good center guard O-line this year. The tackle, it was the worst tackle play he's had. And previously they had been bad up the middle, but good at and so it got really shaky by the end. Dog days of summer, which means it's time for the boys of summer to kick it into gear. And the best way to cash in on your baseball IQ is with DraftKings Sportsbook. As the stretch drive begins, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with live betting, home run props, odds boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? Simple. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Of course, lines and odds subject to change. Something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Wright. That's code Wright for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When you bet just $5 only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So Mahomes came out and said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, whether that's passing for a lot of yards or not passing for a lot of yards. So we've seen Kansas City win in a number of different ways. How do you think that the offense or the Chiefs need to look in order to succeed this year?
Listen, I do think there's an element of they need to get their swagger back and pump the ball down the field. Now, I think people need to remember how we got kind of to the point that we got to with this offense being the way it is. And I talked about this yesterday on TV, but I think it's worth revisiting. 3 years ago, they're playing the number 1 defense in the NFL in the Super Bowl. They score 38 points without a single play longer than 25 yards. And the longest play of the game is a Mahomes scramble. The very next year, they come back. They're in the Super Bowl, having the offense having struggled all year long. Receivers just openly revolting against Patrick. In the Super Bowl, the biggest drive up to that point of Mahomes' life. 11 play, 64-yard dink, dunk field goal. And then in overtime, one of the greatest drives in NFL history, 13 play, 75-yard drive where the longest play once again is a Mahomes scramble. Dink, dunk, no big explosives. And then last year, offense just eking along and pulling games out of the fire. So why am I saying win? They've gone Super Bowl win, Super Bowl win, Super Bowl loss after being 17-1 going into the Super Bowl with Mahomes as a starter? Because I think one of the reasons Patrick started to press early in that Super Bowl, DeMonze, is because being down 14 for last year's Chiefs felt so different than any of the previous year Chiefs. Down 14 3 years ago was, okay, we can start playing now. Yeah. Down 10 in every Super Bowl they've ever played in. Take the lead back in a heartbeat. And so because it was so death by 1,000 cuts, they felt they needed to. I think Patrick felt like, man, we better score right because we don't have this one playability. So I think they need to get that back. And I think the better offensive line, hopefully healthier receivers, even though Rasheed's now dealing with a groin, Hollywood Brown's still out with an ankle. That's not great. That should help that. I also saw there's an unbelievable stat courtesy of Warren Sharp that I would like to go over for a moment. But so quarterback's record when trailing entering the fourth quarter over the last 5 years. Let me give you the top three from 3-1, DeMonze. In third place, best record when trailing entering the fourth last 5 years. Okay? Jalen Hurts, 8-14. So that's pretty good. I mean, it's third best. So 36% of the time, the Eagles are trailing going into the fourth. They win anyway when Jalen starts. Second place, Lamar Jackson, 7-10.
Dog.
41% of the time. So that's almost half the time, bro, that the Ravens are trailing entering the fourth. They win when Lamar's the quarterback. So third place is 36%, Jalen. Second place is 41%, Lamar. This is, again, courtesy Warren Sharp. First place, record the last 5 years, when trailing entering the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes, 14-7. 67%. That means the Chiefs would be an 11-12 win team if every game they trailed going into the fourth quarter. And the other, like, CJ DeMonze is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 8th on this list. 2-10, 20%. Josh Allen is above average. 3-14, 18%. Joe Burrow, 4-23, 15%. Brock Purdy, 1-10, 9%. Like, so I say that for this reason. It's understandable that the Chiefs kind of carry themselves like, we'll figure it out. But it's harder to do that after you just got your teeth kicked in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that is, they need to, go ahead, DeMonte. What'd you say? Yeah.
Week 1.
And I think Josh Simmons, the rookie left tackle, and Xavier Worthy's ascension is going to help that quite a bit. By the way, the Madden ratings for this year, Xavier Worthy a higher rating than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze. Two top 10. Now, just barely, but still, like, that is the highest rated rookie receivers were Neighbors, then Brian Thomas, then Xavier Worthy. So, yeah, I do think they need to bring back, as Brew would call it, the light show a bit. And I'm optimistic that they can. All right, let's talk a little more Chiefs before we get to some other stuff.
Andy Reid's been hyping up your guy Travis Kelce. He's saying that he's calling him svelte, saying he looks 20. He's all slender. A year ago, you said Travis Kelce's got about 8 more good games in him. Great games, not good. Sorry, he's got 8 great games left in him. Has that number changed since? Like, what would he have now at this time?
Well, so
to this year,
yeah. So I felt. I thought he used a couple last year. Certainly, the playoff game against Houston,
the Texans,
was peak Travis. And I also thought he left a lot out on the field. The Christmas Day game against Pittsburgh, that if they knew they won, they were going to get the long rest that they all desperately needed. Now, those aren't the only big games he had all year, but some of the other big games he had, I just thought were, the teams not being able to deal with him, or, how the game plan filled out. So, again, Swifties, please, because I got absolutely crushed for this take last year because people misunderstood what I was saying. I think when you are Travis's age at that position, you have to be very diligent about when you go full throttle. And I think he knows that he only has so many full throttle games left. Now, do I think the added chip on his shoulder for the fact that he didn't play up to his standard, he said last year, and the way they got their ass kicked in the Super Bowl, and the fact that he shed some weight, had probably a better offseason, maybe replenish some of those games, that game count? Yeah. I've got to see him in week 1 to give this a real answer, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think Travis this year will once again be one of the 3 most impactful players at his position. I think Travis and Brock Bowers, and then maybe Kittle, maybe Laporta, maybe the kid in Arizona are the other candidates. But I think Travis and Brock Bowers are going to be up there. And I think Travis is, especially because teams are going to have to respect the deep ball more this year, he's going to have a lot more room to work with over that intermediate middle where he wants to. Hey guys, I'll talk to you about my friends at Boost Mobile. Ever sign up for a phone plan thinking, wow, great price. And then a few months later, it's like, surprise, bill's even higher. With Boost Mobile, you pay $25 a month forever. That's unlimited talk, text, and data starting at just $25 a month. No price hikes, no contract, forever. Plus, Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network. They've invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Visit boostmobile.com or head to your local Boost store today and get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever. 5G speeds not available in all areas. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Tua isn't exactly welcoming Tyreek back with open arms after Tyreek did that little thing at the end of 2024. Tyreek took some accountability in saying, I need to be better as a leader. I feel like he probably should have said as a star player. But with things already off to a bad start, how do you see Miami's season going?
I want to believe in Miami a little bit. I think that they are I like the team that used to be overvalued that now I think people have gone too far in the other direction on. I tend to like those teams. And I really like the Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick trade. I think they got better there. Tyreek, I think, will be better this year. So and I think that last playoff spot in the AFC should be pretty open. So there are some reasons that I kind of was leaning, maybe I'll believe in the Dolphins as a playoff team this year, especially because, speaking of the hot seats, I think, Mike McDaniel, the GM, I think they know we got to start putting some pelts on the wall. You know what I mean? We got to get back on the right track. This is where you might think I'm being unfair. So Tua's comments yesterday were basically, speaking for me and for the team. He wasn't speaking for himself. He's like, Tyreek, what Tyreek did is not something that you just say my bad about and, we're all good. Like, you got to, work on yourself. You got to earn back trust. I'm paraphrasing, but he said all this publicly to the media. So here's where, the exact quote is, when you say something like that, you don't just come back with my bad. You got to work that relationship up. He's working on himself. I didn't love that being a public comment from Tua. So here's what I'll say. And DeMonte, you can tell me
Tyreek
if you think I'm
said
being
it in
unfair.
public?
No. That's why I thought you were going to say I'm being unfair. So just hear me out on this. Okay. What Tyreek did was way out of line.
Yeah.
There is no excusing it. He was a bad teammate. He was immature. It was bad. He's also Tyreek Hill. He's your receiver.
Oh, okay.
He's a receiver. He's a kind of known at times knucklehead. He has just this week he was like, I talked with my dad and I thought it was really important that this offseason I just do football and family stuff. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure he's in a legitimate beef with iShowSpeed and about the racing. And so Tyreek is just a superstar.
He's a jock, dude.
Yeah. A bit of a doofus.
He's a
bit
jock,
of a doofus. And they got a lot of stuff. Okay. It does not excuse what he said, but we're also, I don't think, you're not getting in the Tyreek Hill business for maturity, professionalism, and leadership. You're getting in the Tyreek Hill business because he's freaking awesome, right? Tua's your quarterback, and Tua and Tyreek have to work for the team to work. So I wouldn't care at all if at the first day of training camp, Tua got up in front of the team and was like, Tyreek, you betrayed all of us. You have a lot of, making up to do. That was wrong. Read him the riot act privately. But publicly, I think the answer has to be either, listen, I think Tyreek's addressed that. Any feelings I have on that, I'm going to keep between me and Tyreek and me and the team. But, we know that he and I got to get back to what we were 2 years ago for this team to have a chance. And I believe we're going to do that. You either do that and Tua might not be comfortable with this because I know he's like a deeply religious guy. You just flat lie. Oh, no, Tyreek's Tyreek. We're all good. We knew it was emotional right after the season. Nobody cared. I think those are your two best options. Rather than telling the media, no, everyone was really bothered by that, and actually we're still working on it, because then it continues. I'm going to need an update on that. You know what I mean? And so, again, Tyreek put Tua in a terrible position.
And he was flustered throughout that. It seemed like he seemed pretty nervous. I don't want to say nervous, but constantly walking back stuff and thinking super hard about the stuff he was saying.
Oh, you're talking about Tyreek at the end of the year.
No, I'm talking about Tua
okay.
in the presser. I mean, I felt like he was sweating, but
yeah, well, yeah, when he was Miami right off practice field, but yes, I agree. I agree with you on that regard. But I also thought Tyreek, when he gave this initial thing right after the playoff loss, didn't exactly know what he was trying to say, and then was like, I'm out. I just think that there is sometimes when you are the face of an organization and you get put in bad spots by people, and publicly, you got to just present a united front. That's that's all that I'm, or you can go Peyton Manning about, was it Mike Vanderjagt? The kicker. So you'll love this, Demonte, because you have no recollection of this whatsoever. Mike Vanderjagt, who's a pretty good kicker for the Colts in the aughts, went on some radio show after another Colts playoff loss and took shots at Peyton.
The kicker?
And then, yeah, the kicker. And then Peyton was asked about it at the Pro Bowl, like during a sideline interview. And Peyton's like, yeah, I mean, I really didn't expect that I was going to get asked about our idiot kicker getting all liquored up and popping off at the mouth on the radio. I'll deal with that if he's still a teammate in the future. Like, this guy's gone. This guy's gone. I'm not dealing with him. I have no interest in him. And so that's the other option. The other option is if Tua would have been like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem because I don't think Tyreek's going to be on the team. Like, that's the nuclear option. But if he's going to be on the team, then you gotta sometimes clean up somebody else's mess. That's the only, even if it's not fair.
This tied in with the first topic. It sounds like the Chiefs and Tyreek Hill kind of miss each other.
Well, I told you guys a year ago that I'm very excited for Tyreek Hill wearing a Chiefs uniform in 2026 because that's, I think, going to happen. It's not going to happen this year, but that I think is going to happen.
It's looking pretty likely.
Yeah, maybe that's enough to get Kelce to come back for one more year. Mm-hmm. A little final Tyreek and Kelce right off in the sunset together. Yeah, I think that's absolutely on the board.